Soldiers and combat medics in the Ukraine war. The conflict in Ukraine, which began in 2014 and escalated when Russia invaded the country on a large scale in 2022, has had a significant effect on both combat medics and soldiers. These people are vital to the defense of Ukraine and the provision of life-saving medical care in harsh environments. Diverse military actions are carried out by Ukrainian soldiers, such as counterinsurgency, securing areas, direct combat, and reconnaissance. Their morale and resilience are still astonishingly high, even in the face of constant attacks from hostile forces, hard climatic conditions, and scarce resources. Combat medics are just as important. They work in dangerous environments to treat injured soldiers and civilians. In the midst of the chaos of battle, they are responsible for emergency operations, stabilizing patients for evacuation, and providing continuous care. Despite the tremendous physical and psychological strain they endure, medical professionals exhibit remarkable fortitude. Beyond military duties, both soldiers and medics assist with evacuations, get humanitarian relief, and help rehabilitation projects. Yana Zinkovich, the creator of the Hospitalers Medical Battalion, is a prime example of the vital support that volunteer organizations provide in bridging gaps in Ukraine's overburdened healthcare system. The dedication of military personnel and medical professionals, supported by both domestic and foreign assistance, is still vital to the conflict's immediate resolution, as well as the development of Ukraine's larger humanitarian and social environment. 1. Troops fighting in Ukraine. Duties and accountabilities. To defend their nation, Ukrainian soldiers are taking part in a variety of military activities. They are involved in counterinsurgency operations, reconnaissance missions, direct fighting, and territory security. They use a variety of strategies and tools, like as artillery, armored vehicles, and infantry maneuvers. In addition, these soldiers help relief efforts in regions that have been liberated, aid in the evacuation of residents, and provide security for humanitarian aid. Their extensive training and flexibility allow them to react to the demanding and changing situations on the front lines with effectiveness, demonstrating their vital role in Ukraine's defense plan. Education and readiness. The Ukrainian military has undergone substantial modernization and changes since the start of the conflict. Urban warfare, counterinsurgency, and modern warfare techniques are the main topics of the soldiers' intense training. Enhancing their training and skills has been made possible by outside aid, especially from NATO countries. With the aid of cutting-edge military training, supplies, and consulting services, Ukrainian troops will be able to adapt successfully to the changing demands of the war. Soldiers are kept well prepared for the varied and dynamic conditions they encounter on the front lines by ongoing training. Difficulties and hazards. Many obstacles must be overcome by soldiers, such as hostile terrain, scarce supplies, and persistent threats. They are vulnerable to landmines, sniper fire, and artillery shelling on the front lines, which are frequently in unstable areas. There is a considerable psychological cost, as well. Many soldiers suffer from PTSD, war exhaustion, and other mental health conditions. The physical strain of continuous military operations and the psychological toll of seeing and experiencing the atrocities of war exacerbate these risks. Ukrainian soldiers persevere in their objective despite these hardships, displaying bravery and resiliency in the face of grave peril. Sturdiness and mood. The soldiers from Ukraine exhibit extraordinary fortitude and good morale in spite of the trials. Many fight because of a strong sense of duty and nationalistic enthusiasm. Tales of valor and selflessness abound, emphasizing their commitment and bravery. Their morale is further raised by support from the general public, which takes the form of donations and volunteer work. Support from the community gives soldiers vital supplies and a feeling of camaraderie, strengthening their determination to protect their nation. This camaraderie of tenacity and assistance to one another highlights the warriors of Ukraine's steadfast dedication to the war. 2. Combat nurses in the war in Ukraine. Duties and accountabilities. Combat medics play a critical role in supplying injured soldiers and civilians with emergency medical care. Among their responsibilities are emergency medical operations, stabilizing patients in preparation for evacuation, and round-the-clock care during hostilities. They frequently arrive first in emergency situations, putting themselves at danger and working under fire to save lives. On the battlefield, combat medics also handle trauma situations, stop bleeding, and perform life-saving procedures. They are an essential part of both military operations and humanitarian efforts because of their prompt and effective interventions, which significantly lower injury-related mortality and morbidity. Skills and training. Combat medics receive specialized training in emergency medicine, trauma care, and first aid on the battlefield. They are better prepared to deal with the particular difficulties seen in conflict areas, such as serious injuries like blast traumas, shrapnel wounds, and gunshot wounds. Medics that participate in regular training and drills are certain to be skilled in life-saving techniques and able to act quickly under duress. Their knowledge and preparedness are essential for maximizing survival rates in hazardous situations, stabilizing patients for evacuation, and delivering emergency medical care on the front lines. Difficulties and hazards. Operating alongside soldiers in hazardous settings, combat medics incur enormous hazards. In order to reach and treat the injured, they regularly have to cross active conflict zones, putting their lives in danger. The psychological toll is significant, since medical professionals frequently witness serious injuries and fatalities directly, which raises stress and emotional strain levels. Their responsibilities are further complicated by the lack of medical supplies and the need for flexibility, which forces doctors to make important judgments under duress. Combat medics persevere in the face of adversity, provide life-saving medical care that facilitates military operations in conflict areas. Adaptability and resilience. Combat medics are incredibly resilient and versatile in their work. They continue to carry out their tasks with commitment and professionalism even if they are working in demanding situations with few resources. Numerous medical professionals have spearheaded creative approaches to overcome obstacles, such as creating effective trach systems under duress and improvising using unusual materials for medical treatments. In the heat of battle, their capacity for rapid, innovative thought guarantees that they will be able to handle injuries and deliver vital medical care. Their tenacity highlights how vital they are to assisting military operations and preserving lives in combat. 3. Effect on the disputation. Humanitarian initiatives. In times of conflict, combat medics and troops both play crucial roles in humanitarian missions. Troops help secure the delivery of humanitarian aid, ease the evacuation of populations from places devastated by conflict, and aid in the reconstruction of liberated towns. In order to provide prompt and efficient support, combat medics work closely with foreign humanitarian groups to deliver vital medical care to wounded civilians. Their joint efforts prioritize the safety and well-being of civilians caught in the middle of conflict, upholding humanitarian ideals while also lessening the suffering caused by conflict. Their vital involvement in military operations and humanitarian endeavors in crisis zones are highlighted by these contributions. Social and psychological impacts. Troops, combat medics, and the general public are all significantly impacted. 2. Combat nurses in the war in Ukraine. Duties and accountabilities. Combat medics play a critical role in supplying injured soldiers and civilians with emergency medical care. Among their responsibilities are emergency medical operations, stabilizing patients in preparation for evacuation, and round-the-clock care during hostilities. They frequently arrive first in emergency situations, putting themselves at danger and working under fire to save lives. On the battlefield, combat medics also handle trauma situations, stop bleeding, and perform life-saving procedures. They are an essential part of both military operations and humanitarian efforts because of their prompt and effective interventions, which significantly lower injury-related mortality and morbidity. Skills and training. Combat medics receive specialized training in emergency medicine, trauma care, and first aid on the battlefield. They are better prepared to deal with the particular difficulties seen in conflict areas, such as serious injuries like blast traumas, shrapnel wounds, and gunshot wounds. Medics that participate in regular training and drills are 4. Hospitallers Medical Battalion Case Study. A volunteer squad of several hundred combat medics with training was established by Yana Zinkovich, a member of the Ukrainian parliament. The group is called the Hospitallers Medical Battalion. They fill important gaps in the nation's overburdened medical system and demonstrate the commitment and efficiency of medical volunteers in the conflict in Ukraine. They are stationed close to the battle lines, running improvised field hospitals and giving wounded soldiers and civilians vital medical attention. Their actions highlight the crucial role that volunteer groups play in aiding Ukraine's defense and relief endeavors, exhibiting tenacity and dedication in the face of the continuous hostilities. Operational difficulties. The Hospitallers have few military doctors, medical trucks, and specialist troops. which presents serious operational obstacles. They run improvised field hospitals and stockrooms, painstakingly preparing and dispensing vital medical supplies. In the middle of a continuing conflict, these committed combat medics frequently improvise and adapt to meet the urgent medical demands of the wounded. They are vital in providing critical care to those in need along the front lines. Their actions demonstrate the vital role that volunteer organizations play in assisting Ukraine's overburdened healthcare system and guaranteeing that frontline staff members receive prompt, efficient medical care in spite of difficult circumstances. Activities on the field. The hospitalers operate mobile field hospitals in places like Pavlograd, stabilizing both badly injured soldiers and civilians. They deal with serious injuries like gunshot and shrapnel wounds, and their work is demanding and frequently done in hostile environments. Participation of volunteers. Some of the volunteers who make up the hospitalers come from backgrounds other than Ukrainian. The fact that this is happening internationally shows how much support there is for Ukraine's war operations. The commitment of the volunteers emphasizes how crucial their work is in providing medical care and saving lives. 5. In summary, the war in Ukraine has brought to light the extraordinary commitment and price paid by combat doctors and soldiers in the face of ceaseless fighting, in the face of a variety of military activities, ranging from direct battle to humanitarian relief efforts. Ukrainian soldiers demonstrate bravery and tenacity in protecting their country. Their efficacy on the front lines is increased by their backing from international partners and their training in contemporary warfare methods. While this is going on, combat medics operate in dangerous environments and give the injured vital medical attention while exhibiting remarkable adaptation and tenacity. Volunteer organizations play a vital role in aiding frontline operations and strengthening Ukraine's overburdened medical system, as demonstrated by the hospitalers' medical battalion. Their steadfast dedication is crucial in preserving lives and molding the humanitarian scene in Ukraine as long as the conflict lasts. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more captivating content on our YouTube channel.